My name is Sean Cantella, and I'm the Director of Programming and Training at Peace Corps Ghana. Peace Corps goals are broad. Some PCVs say that our goals are even too broad. But when you have broadly defined goals, this leaves it open to also have broadly defined successes within those goals. Far too often, I've sat through close of service interviews with outgoing PCVs who are racked with self-doubt about whether or not they were a successful PCV. In many cases, these same PCVs have been leaders of their groups and productive and talented contributors to their host communities. But there is something about the unstructured nature of Peace Corps service that leaves them guessing as to whether or not they were a successful volunteer at their sites. As such, PCV Media in Ghana has attempted to broaden the definition of success by profiling different PCVs who took different paths to success in their service. Some take a traditional approach, integrating seamlessly and becoming an integral part of their communities. Some were excellent at organizing, garnering resources and people to create well-defined and measurable projects. Others had connecting traits and used their outgoing nature and sales skills to bring projects and resources to their communities. Some had implementing abilities and just went about their service by working hard every day, toiling in the fields and dealing with initial ridicule, slowly building up credibility and collaborators in their town. Still others excelled at collaborating by developing an exceptionally close bond with their work counterpart. They were able to work synergistically and accomplish much more than they could complete as individuals. And some are successful by balancing a variety of activities, managing to work with a wide range of people, organizations, and other volunteers throughout their service. Before we begin, however, I offer this caveat. Each individual will, by definition, forge their own path to success as a PCV. Sure, there will be elements in your service that you recognize from these examples, but you should know that each service is unique, and as such, each opportunity for success will be unique as well. This piece is close to my heart in that I served as a small enterprise development volunteer in Senegal from 1993 to 95. Back then and still today, I'm a hard-driving A-type personality who is very results-oriented and driven, which is fairly common among other said volunteers in service. That said, back then it seemed like the only model of a successful PCV was the highly integrated, rural-based site rat. Well, being that I was a PCV living and working in Kaolack, Senegal, a city of 250,000 people, it seemed there was no definition of success that fit my living conditions and job in the community. Reflecting on those years, I now know that while I had some success on individual projects, I don't think I ever felt like I was a successful PCV. A successful RPCV? Maybe, but not necessarily a successful PCV. As such, we hope you enjoy this PCV Media piece, and we hope that it inspires some of you to forge your own path to success during your Peace Corps service in Ghana. Thank you very much.
So hi, I'm Olivia Kramer. I'm in the agriculture sector. My site was in Brong-Ahafo region, a place called Brody, which is really close to the Côte d'Ivoire border. So I was doing a lot of work with cashew farmers, but as most Peace Corps volunteers, I was a community volunteer, so I did a little bit of education and health too.
My name is Ben Estep. I'm an education volunteer from Connecticut. I teach JHS Math and English at Atakra DAJHS in the Afron Plains.
My name is Genevieve, and I'm a health, water, and sanitation volunteer. I'm in my second year of service. My site's in northern region. It's called Nyang-Na-Yili.
My name is Mike Underwood. I live in Dabibi in the Brong-Ahafo region of Ghana, very close to Côte d'Ivoire. I am a part of the ag sector, and I work most specifically with cashew farmers.
My name is Tiana Boyd. My site is Ajumako Kunyako. My sector is Health Wat Sand.
My name is Joseph Stein. I'm an agriculture volunteer. I came here in 2012. My site was in a village called Bormasi in the eastern region.
So before I came to Peace Corps, I thought a successful Peace Corps volunteer but be somebody who got a lot of stuff done. I had a sort of stereotypical idea of development where you come and you do something tangible and physical, like you build something or you'd improve a structure or infrastructure. And as I found out throughout my service, that's not quite what success in Peace Corps is supposed to mean.
I thought that success was having projects that didn't fail.
So I think before I came here, I just hoped that I would get there, it would be a seamless transition, I would be successful in learning the language, and kind of that language learning would set a precedent for my whole service.
Well, my first few months at site were very difficult. One might say bad.
I found work mostly through conversations with people. I kind of did the PACO tools, but not so straightforward. So I'd have a lot of conversations on benches with people about their daily schedule, and they could talk forever about what they do and what they don't do and what times of the year and the seasonal calendars. I went through a lot with a lot of different people, and I had a notebook and I kept notes and everything like that. And what I found was that through indirect conversations about things like that, I kind of saw trends and I kind of found things that were most important in the community.
Finding work, it was a slow and agonizingly long process, but I just kind of spread my seeds widely. I tried a lot of different things.
The first 3 months at site were really difficult. I didn't know the language very well. It was really hot. I had no idea what I was doing. I read a lot of books, and I spent a lot of time just existing with people. And I think that set me up for success later, because I was able to just hang out with people and they knew what I was like, and they saw that I was trying to learn the language. I went to the school a lot and worked with the students there, and that helped me set up for the rest of my time at site, because my first project was working with the girls at the JHS, and I already knew them because I'd been at the school a lot.
So I knew that I would have access to students, so I wanted to focus more on what I could do to fit in the community and just become a member, instead of being looked at as, the white teacher who, teaches at a Takra, and now you're just Kwabana. So people don't even think about the fact that I'm an Obruni anymore. And that's what, when I realized that was the case, that's when I really knew that my time here was well spent.
I'm really happy with how integrated I am with my family. I really care about them and they care about me. My landlord checks up on me when I travel, and he gives me food from his harvest, and none of them speak English. They all speak Dagbani, so I'm really happy that I'm able to have such a strong relationship with them despite the language barrier.
When someone comes to visit you and you hear, what their actual thoughts are about you, it makes you feel successful. It makes you feel awesome to have someone describe you as a son, someone describe you as a younger brother. Your assemblyman describe you as someone he can call to deal with problems that he's having.
I think that one of my most successful projects is this Bednet distribution that I did that served 22 Peace Corps volunteers in all 3 northern regions of Ghana. I brought 1,700 Bednets from Kumasi to the north and distributed them to 22 other volunteers, including my own community. And in my community, I had about 40 houses build soakaway pits, and in exchange they got Bednets. And I was really happy with the number of people that built pits. So I'm proud of that.
I did a youth camp, and all of the schools I was trying to get attend the youth camp actually came, and all of my guest speakers actually showed up pretty much on time, and that was amazing because that doesn't happen very often.
I've found a lot of success making partners with different organizations or companies. They often offer you more than you think. One time I had, working with cashew companies, there was one cashew company I didn't do any work with, but I knew them. and I was able to ask them to deliver around 10,000 books to a city for me and several other volunteers. And they did it. All we had to do was pay for the gas.
I had an opportunity to work with a radio station because a guy in my village he's like the newscaster at the radio station and invited me over one day. And that turned into a really cool thing because they were open to doing like malaria talks, and then we did this whole youth education, youth empowerment panel, and town hall meetings, and we did a lot of great things together. So that was really cool.
Cold calling I found really useful. It's just going, getting a number from somebody, calling them out of the blue, telling them who you are, telling them what you want to do, setting up a meeting. Or just going to someone's office, just showing up and saying, hi, I'd like to work with you guys. I found that really useful. Something that was tough at first, just, it's not something that I'm used to, showing up somewhere and saying, well, how can you help me? Or this is what I want to do, please help me. But I found it was invaluable for my service, and how I was able to, I rely on other organizations to help implement the projects, and ultimately, I hope those organizations will allow the projects to be sustainable.
I eventually took up with my landlord as a new counterpart, and he gave me a little piece of land next to the house, just real small, like 20 by 20 meters, and I made a garden. And that was how I think I gained a lot of respect in the community. Because they would see me, I cleared it all by myself. It was really thick grass. I made the garden myself, and they would always laugh at me. People would come by and they'd laugh at me because they thought it was ridiculous that I was doing that by myself. And they also laughed at my methods, my organic methods, until my food started to come in. And I had green peppers, and I had tomatoes, and I had ground nuts, and they were in awe. People would come every day to watch me work in my garden, and I didn't know how much to grow for just one person because I've never done that. So I had way too many peppers, so I'd always give someone, they were heirlooms, so you can replant them. I would give someone those peppers, but only under the stipulation that they would then plant the seeds. And I gave away dozens. But I also noticed that a few people actually started to plant them. And people have come to me with the vegetables that I gave them seeds to, and they've said, here's what I grew from the stuff you gave me. So it was something simple, something kind of selfish, because it was my garden, but it really, I feel, made an impact.
I built a library at my school. And when it was finished, the building just looks beautiful, and we're still waiting on shelves and tables to make it complete. But I already feel like, this is something that the community has noticed. And to pique their interest in it in any way has been kind of my goal.
So when I got to site, my designated Peace Corps counterpart was the assemblyman of my community, and he was the one who came to my counterpart workshop and worked with me in PST. But when I got to site, he wasn't there for my first 3 months. So it's kind of difficult to get started in a community where you don't have a community contact person. So I ended up working with my supervisor, and he was the one who requested a Peace Corps volunteer come to my community. But the problem was he said he didn't put himself as a counterpart because he didn't want to work with a female. And obviously, being a woman, that was a little bit of a challenge for me. So we started off at an interesting start. We didn't get along great in the beginning, and we're both very stubborn and strong-willed people. So we had a lot of interesting conversations about gender roles and what we believed in and how we could work together. And he was a really motivated and go-getter kind of personality, so he was a great person to work with. It was more of the personal side of things that was difficult for us. But over time, he was my only option in the beginning, my first 3 months. So that's why I started out working with him. And now when I'm about to COS and he has become my best friend in the community, and it was all through lots of open and honest conversations, which is not always easy in a new culture and country, but it's been an extremely rewarding experience with him. And so for me, I've done a ton of projects with him, but I would say that my interactions with him has been my greatest success as a Peace Corps volunteer.
I collaborated with another volunteer on a school garden for the primary school, and we worked with the teachers to write a grant and to find the land and to inform the community. And we started with a pretty small plot, and it grew to almost 5 times its original size in the peak of rainy season. And we were feeding about 600 students. And the teachers right now are helping me with a sanitation project, and they're setting up a dry season garden. And I'm just, I don't know, I feel like my work with them has really been capacity building. They'll be able to keep doing work without me there, and I'm really proud of that. I feel that I can leave and know that they'll keep on working, which is really reassuring.
It's kind of a thin line you walk between like being a part of a community, being integrated and being family, and still bringing in all this money and grants and doing things, and having people not see you as just the wallet or just, you know, this outsider bringing in money, but having them see you as a member of the community who cares about the community, so they're connecting the community to resources. Like, that has been a hard line to like learn how to walk. But I think one of the greatest successes is just having the courage to try and walk it and find the balance.
Sometimes, you know, your day-to-day teaching can be frustrating, but that frustration can be alleviated by your after-school clubs. You're doing what you want to do. You know, you're teaching a girl how to play No Woman, No Cry on the guitar. You're teaching, you know, people, the Form 1 students, how to write a poem and use rhyme, you know, and then make a rap song out of it and rap it for them, and they just like love that. So to get them out of the school setting, I've noticed that their interest in learning even grows.
I felt like an unsuccessful volunteer probably maybe a few minutes of every day at some point in each day throughout Peace Corps. And I think from what I've heard from other volunteers too, that's pretty normal.
Sometimes I almost feel like I could be doing more community work. I see health and ag volunteers who are extremely successful in working with a lot of different members of their community. They have a women's group here making soap, and they have a farmers group here doing VSLA or moringa stuff, you know, and for those people, I feel like they're doing genuine good, you know, in their community. Whereas with teaching, it's like you're building for the future, you know, you're hoping that your students take out of your time here that they can go on and they can achieve big things when they grow up, and that they can dare to dream instead of being confined to this sort of village life.
Some of the challenges that I face in my community have been that some people just don't really care, and getting over that it's not about me and it's not about the agenda that I'm trying to push. It's just they have their own agenda, and that, you know, so I did the Soakaway Pit project, and 40 houses embraced it and did it, and most houses did not. And that's too bad, and it's disappointing, but, you know, that's sort of, I just had to forget about it and focus on the people that were interested in doing it.
Always. I have tried so many projects and failed at 95% of them. Even the most promising ones, the big ones.
Success to me now is that I tried to do something even though it was challenging.
For me, it all became about people and working with my community.
Well, I guess my biggest change in success was really going from understanding of success outside factors, like in numbers, and now it's really internal. So now it's really like, if I can go home and still be thankful, like at the end of the day, regardless of if the program goes good or bad, or regardless of if I feel, you had a great turnout, or regardless of if people listen, if I can go home and still feel grateful for a few things, then I feel like that was successful.
It's kind of corny, but have fun. I think my most successful times in Peace Corps was when I was laughing with the people that I was around and we were having a good time.
You're here for you.
You can make this experience whatever you want it to be. If you want it to be something, like if you're feeling bored at site, you're not stimulated, you're not doing enough, you can change that. You can go out and do projects that make things happen.
I would say come in with an open mind as far as their school system goes.
The next 2 years are going to be really hard, and you're going to think about a lot of stuff. Sometimes you're going to think you can't make it. And if you can work through that, if you can just say, you know, I've almost done it, and focus and rely on your volunteers and really look towards other people for help. Don't seclude yourself. You'll make it.
Get rid of all of your expectations, because whatever you've thought initially, you don't even know Ghana until you get here. So I think that you just kind of have to start from the baseline, from the bottom, and just come in with a totally open mind and not think that you're going to save the world or change everyone's lives in your community. Your mere presence in your community is life-changing to some people.